Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking an early look at one of the most improved Pokemon in the Ultra League, Double Kick VIRIZION. VIRIZION is a grass and fighting type legendary Pokemon with the moveset of Double Kick, Leaf Blade, and Legacy Sacred Sword. Thanks to Double Kick, VIRIZION is now absurdly spammy, and with a bulk similar to that of XL Scrafty, this thing looks to be an absolute beast. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Double Kick VIRIZION in action in the Ultra League. Nightmare lead in the first match, VIRIZION into Pidgeot. Immediate save switch into Greedent, and Greedent is going to be met with Galarian Stunfisk. Not the greatest matchup ever, but if I get an early debuff, I can make a play for switch. And I am able to get the defense debuff. That is massive. They're unlikely to bait on the first one, so I am going to commit the shield, and I do correctly shield the Earthquake. That is incredibly important. I'm just going to spam out as many crunches as possible. Second crunch is not going to get the debuff, but I got the ever important first debuff, which means that this third crunch should just about put it into body slam range. They're going to land an Earthquake. I'm going to fire off my third crunch here. They don't have to shield this, but it is going to get them quite low. I'm just going to farm up and throw just before they reach the Earthquake. My opponent decides to go for the Rock Slide. This will get me low, but it's not going to be enough to take me out, and I'm going to be able to double up on body slams, meaning if they want switch, they're going to have to give up both shields, and they decide to let it go, and they bring in Jellicent to try and go for an aggressive Hex Down. I'm able to fire off the crunch, deals quite a bit of damage. Greedent going for a next crunch, but I fall just short. Thankfully, since I have switch advantage, I can now align VIRIZION into the Jellicent. Jellicent fires off the Shadow Ball. VIRIZION tanks it like a champ. Opponent brings back in Pidgeot, and I'm going to respond with Swampert. I'm just going to fire off Hydro Cannon after Hydro Cannon here. I need to start getting these shields. My opponent at this point is probably going to shield everything I throw from Swampert because they need to get that Feather Dance off. Now, unfortunately, I'm doing significantly less damage than I would be before. I'm going to fire off another Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon gets the final shield, and suddenly, I may actually have a chance here. I'm going to let this go. At this point, this sounds crazy, but I'm going to trust in VIRIZION. I should be able to reach one final quad debuffed Hydro Cannon, and now it's all up to VIRIZION. Can VIRIZION take down a flying type? I'm going to fire off a Sacred Sword. Sacred Sword does a solid chunk of damage. VIRIZION able to reach a second. This should take down the Pidgeot, and now all that's left is the Jellicent. VIRIZION, so spammy, able to reach a Leaf Blade. This is going to be getting that Jellicent incredibly low. Jellicent is going to fire off a move. I'm going to shield the VIRIZION, and I should have this game. That is unfortunately a Bubble Beam, but VIRIZION is going to be able to reach the last second Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade will easily take down the Jellicent, and that is a good game. The bad leads continue in the next match, VIRIZION into Nidoqueen. I am going to need to immediately save switch out of this matchup, as I'm going to bring in my Greedent. My opponent's Nidoqueen is staying in and firing off a Poison Fang. They definitely want to soften up the Greedent before they bring in their counter swap, which is going to be Umbreon. Unfortunately, since I'm debuffed, I'm not really going to be able to make a play for switch advantage here, but my goal now is basically just to do enough damage so I can put it into a nice farm down range for VIRIZION. Because VIRIZION with energy can be incredibly deadly, even going up against a counter like Nidoqueen. They're going to fire off the Foul Play. That does a lot of damage. I'm at the back-to-back Body Slams, and I win CMP over the Umbreon. Body Slam gets them below half health. They're going to fire off another Foul Play. This will barely not be enough to KO, and unfortunately, they are going to be able to snarl down here. Thankfully, I am able to reach one final Body Slam, and this is going to get them very close to the red health. And now, in comes VIRIZION for an incredibly aggressive farm down. Umbreon is going to fire off a Last Resort. VIRIZION tanks it no problem, and I'm able to farm down. Opponent is going to bring back in the Nidoqueen, but this is now a very different game as I am absolutely loaded on energy. I fire off the first Leaf Blade, they let it go, and I am already at 2 more Leaf Blades. I'm going to fire off the second. That gets them very low. I aggressive switch into Swampert, and in the back is Jellicent. Typically, Jellicents will shield the first since they want a Bubble Beam, so I'm going to go for the bait. Hydro Cannon gets no shielded. My opponent is an absolute mind reader. I'm going to call the bait myself. They do go for the Bubble Beam bait, so now, unfortunately, I am debuffed. I'm expecting they kind of have to start using their shields, so I'm gonna bait again, and this time I am actually successful. This is enough for the Shadow Ball. I am going to respect it with a shield, and it is the Shadow Ball. I notice my switch timer is coming up soon, so I'm gonna bank energy, switch into Virizion, and catch a move. Let's go. Shadow Ball gets me extremely low. I'm gonna fire off the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade would hit them for massive super effective damage. They commit the shield. Virizion dies with the move. Back in comes Swampert. I'm going for the Earthquake, really hoping this is going to be enough to KO. Earthquake, barely not enough to KO, and Jellicent is able to reach a last second move. I will commit the shield. It was only a Bubble Beam. I throw the Hydro Cannon, anticipating the switch into Nidoqueen. That will take down the Nidoqueen and win the game. Great lead in the next match, Virizion into Escavalier. This is a dominating matchup for Virizion in all even shield situations. They're staying in, and that works out great for me. I'm going to fire off the Sacred Sword. That does a nice amount of damage. They are going to be able to outpace me. I live any one move here, but I do want to preserve some HP, so I am going to shield it up. Unfortunately, I do get baited with the Drill Run, but I should be able to get that shield back with the Sacred Sword. Sacred Sword gets the shield. Virizion farming up. Opponent goes for the catch onto Giratina, but I hold on to my energy, and Giratina is now met with Greedent. This is just an absolutely miserable matchup for Shadow Claw Giratina. The Shadow Claws do basically no damage, and Greedent is able to get to these crunches incredibly quickly, courtesy of Bullet Seed. Giratina is going to fire off Dragon Claw after Dragon Claw, but Greedent is up to the challenge. Greedent able to tank it no problem and fire off a second crunch. This is going to get that Giratina quite low. Giratina not willing to commit a shield. Giratina does have quite a bit of energy here, and they're going to start firing it off. They fire off a Dragon Claw. I farm up, and they're able to reach another one. I will be able to live this, so I'm going to let it go. Throw one more Bullet Seed, go for the move, and this will be enough to take down the Giratina here. Crunch. Grabs the shield from the Giratina. Giratina is able to fire off another Dragon Claw. Tough decision to make. I commit the shield. They bring in the Escav, and they snipe. At this point, unfortunately, my Greedent gets taken out, but I still have Virizion. I bring in Virizion. I'm going to fire off the Sacred Sword, just in case they had residual energy and were going to be able to reach a move. That's going to be able to take them out. If they bring in Giratina, I'm going to bank this energy and bring in Swampert. In comes Giratina. I'm going to bring in Swampert and go for an incredibly aggressive Mud Shot farm down. They're going to spam out Dragon Claw after Dragon Claw, but I do not care. I'm just going for the Mud Shot farm down. I want to leave with a ton of loaded energy. They land the second Dragon Claw in the back. It's a Wall Rain, and I have enough energy to handle this. Earthquake deals a ton of damage. I'm going to farm up and fire off the Hydro Cannon on what I believe should be the CMP tie to the Icicle Spear. Hydro Cannon gets them low. For some reason, it wasn't a CMP tie, even though it didn't show a sneak. Either way, they're able to take me out. In comes Virizion. Virizion able to double kick down, leave with the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade will easily take out the Giratina, and Virizion clutches the win. Dream lead in the next match, Virizion into Shadow Swampert, and Swampert is staying in this matchup, which means they must be weak somewhere in the back as well. I'm going to fire off the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade grabs a shield from the Swampert. Opponent is going to save switch into Wall Rain. This is a core that we saw a decent amount last season, the Swampert Wall Rain core, but Virizion is here to say no. Virizion just has a dominating matchup against both. Even if they hit us with a super effective Icicle Spear, Virizion able to tank it like it's nothing and reach another Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade is going to be able to take out the Wall Rain. The Swampert does have energy, or do we end up seeing the third? We see the third. It's a Escavalier. I stay in. I am able to reach yet another Sacred Sword. The spamminess of Virizion is absolutely unreal. I'm going to bring in Swampert, and this Escav does have a lot of loaded energy. I'm going to tank whatever they throw here, and then just continue to farm up. I keep farming up. They bring in the Shadow Swampert, and I'm able to catch onto the Greedent. That's big. I do tank 2 Hydro Cannons, but a Hydro Cannon plus an Earthquake would honestly be pretty dangerous. This is enough for the Quake. I am going to respect it. Just a Hydro Cannon bait, and I'm going to fire back with the Body Slam. This is not going to be enough to KO, but it is going to do a solid chunk of damage. Swampert lets it through. At this point, I'm just going to save my shield for my own Swampert. They're going to fire off a Hydro Cannon. That's totally fine. Greedent able to farm down, and I leave with the crunch loaded. They know I have a hydro loaded, so they cannot afford to shield the crunch. They let it go. In comes Swampert. Swampert able to mudshot down and get the win. Hopping into the next match, leading into this team's biggest core breaker, a Talonflame lead. I'm going to save switch into my Greedent. Talonflame staying in, and this is enough for a Brave Bird. I do live the Brave Bird, but it's going to do a ton of damage. Brave Bird able to connect, and my opponent brings in their Nidoqueen. Unfortunately, the game does lag quite a bit there. I'm going to fire off the Body Slam. Body Slam doesn't do a whole lot of damage to a non-Shadow Queen, and Greedent just doesn't hit particularly hard. I'm just going to continue to spam out as many Body Slams as I possibly can. I'm hoping to be able to reach one more after this. It's going to be very close. Greedent is very low. Greedent gets farmed down, and I'm not able to reach the move. I bring in VIRIZION. I'm just going to tank whatever they throw here. Opponent threw a blind Earth Power, maybe anticipating me to bring in my third. Honestly, that works out great for me. Poison Fang is going to do quite a lot of damage. I'm going to farm up and fire off the Leaf Blade. Unfortunately, I don't have the back-to-back stored, but I do have some residual energy. In comes Talonflame. I'm going to bring in the Swampert. Swampert is going to be able to outpace the Talonflame here. Hydro Cannon is not enough to KO, but it will do a massive amount of damage. This is enough for another Brave Bird, and I have to start shielding something. I respect it. It's a Flame Charge. That is quite unfortunate. I'm going to fire off another Hydro Cannon. Let's see if we can start getting shields. They actually let it go. In the back, they have their own VIRIZION, and unfortunately for me, this is just game over. A good reminder that sometimes in Go Battle League, no matter what you do, sometimes you'll just get hard countered, and this is one of those games. There's just nothing that Swampert can do against the VIRIZION. I am able to make a very nice catch onto my own VIRIZION, but there's just nothing I'm going to be able to do here. VIRIZION is going to be able to take me out. I'm not going to commit a shield here. At this point, the game's over. VIRIZION takes out my Swampert, and that is a good game. Hopping into the final match, leading VIRIZION into Tapu Fini. This is a win for VIRIZION in all shielding scenarios. Opponent save switches into an XL Oranguru, and I'm going to respond with my Greedent. Greedent does have a fairly comfortable matchup here, able to hit for super effective damage with the crunches while only taking neutral in return. I'm going to fire off the crunch. Crunch, able to land. Unfortunately, no defense drop. Oranguru continues to farm up a ton of energy, and I'm going to fire off a second crunch. This will be getting them very low. Oranguru commits the shield. They fire off another confusion, allowing me to reach another crunch. Crunch gets them very low. This Oranguru has so much energy stored. I do want to make a play for switch though. I do commit the shield. I am able to reach a body slam, and now they have a choice to make. Do they want to give up the final shield? Yes, they do. They're going shields down. They really want switch. I am not going to let that happen. I'm going to shield up and take out the Oranguru. Back in comes Tapu Fini. I will be able to reach this body slam, which is going to do some solid chip damage. Unfortunately, I am going to get farmed down just before I reach the next one. In comes VIRIZION. I farm up, I wait slightly for a catch, and I fire off the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade does a lot of damage. I'm going to farm up, and it's a simultaneous switch. Swampert into Salazzle, an incredibly spicy pick. Unfortunately for my opponent, I can just farm up to the back-to-back Hydro Cannons with Swampert. First, we'll take out the Salazzle. Second one, we'll be able to take down the Tapu Fini as well. So Swampert closing strong and clutching the win. All in all, I was extremely impressed with VIRIZION's performance in the Ultra League. It has a nice amount of bulk to it, and that double kick Sacred Sword Leaf Blade combination is incredibly spammy. And on top of that, you can also switch out one of those moves for Stone Edge if you want a surprise nuke to one-shot Talonflame. It's definitely a Pokemon that does have counters. It struggles against things like Giratina, Trevenant, Talonflame, if you're not running Stone Edge, that kind of stuff. But honestly, it is significantly improved and feels like an incredibly strong pick if you're looking to make a climb in the Ultra League. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.